Hello and welcome to my little kitchen in Japan. This is the Kate Gourmet and today we'll be making Asuka Nabe. It's a specialty of Nara in Japan, but I'll show you how to make it at home. Let's get started. So a few years ago I took a train trip to Nara. Nara is the land of various temples and shrines, giant Buddhas, wandering deer, and a unique hot pot called Asuka Nabe. This hot pot is quite unique because the soup base is actually milk. I thought it was soy milk for a long time, so for years after having it in Nara, I recreated it with soy milk. So soy milk is a great substitute if you can't have milk or if you don't like milk. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how to use up the rest of the creamy broth for a perfect finish. To make Asuka Nabe, you will need chicken. I'm making chicken two ways. First, thighs cut into bite-sized chunks, and then ground meat, which I will turn into meatballs. Into the meat, I will add some sake, chicken gara soup, which is a granulated chicken stock, but if you don't have it, you can use a little salt instead, grated ginger, this is always one of my favorites, and katakuriko to bind it. Mix this all together so it's like a paste. Later, we will use a spoon to form the meat as we drop it into the soup. For the vegetables, I'll be using some hakusai, which is napa cabbage. The napa cabbage we will cut into chunks. I'll be using a little shimeji mushroom, which I'll just break apart. The bean sprouts, well, they're just bean sprouts, we don't have to do anything to them. Next, the garlic. Wait, don't crush it. This time we will peel the skin and then just slice it thinly. We want it to keep its shape in this case, just like this. The dried red peppers we will also slice thinly into rounds if possible. But you could also use crushed red pepper if you can't get these. The rounds will give a nice aesthetic look later. Lastly, the nira or garlic chives we will cut into long strips. If you don't have nira, you can substitute with green onions instead. Okay, we have everything ready to make Asuka Nabe. Let's get started. I'll be using a donabe or a clay pot, but you can use whatever large pot you have. Add in 300 milliliters of milk, 400 milliliters of water, a tablespoon of chicken gara soup, but if you don't have chicken gara soup, you can put in some dashi instead, a tablespoon each of mirin, and cooking sake, and 1.5 tablespoons of white miso. White miso is a little more refined and smoother than red miso that we've used before, but just like in other videos, we will incorporate it slowly by adding a little liquid, stirring it in before adding it back into the pot. Unlike other hot pots, we will not be putting any soy sauce this time around. This is very much deliberate. We don't want our pure white soup to become beige. Now that we have our soup in, let's add in our vegetables. In the center, let's add a bunch of hakusai, then the mushrooms, and then a big pile of bean sprouts. Place the chicken thighs along the edges, and then spoon in some meatballs. Place a pile of garlic chives in the center, and then the garlic and red pepper on top. So everything's in the pot, we'll be heating it all together all at once. Let's let that heat on a medium heat until the meat and the vegetables are cooked through. Let's come back in about 10 minutes to see how it looks. Be careful with a milk-based broth, keep it moving so it doesn't scorch on the bottom or it doesn't froth up and overflow. Look at this creamy soup. So our nabe looks great. I'm gonna turn off the heat and let's get ready to serve. You can serve this in the center of the table and ladle in what you'd like to eat in your individual bowl and enjoy. So as is typical with other nabe, once you have finished most of the meat and vegetables, you'll be left with some broth. Don't let this go to waste. When I went to Nara and had this dish, the shime was actually ramen. So I have a little nabe ramen. So let's turn our nabe back on. This is actually ramen that is made to go in a nabe. If you don't have a ramen like this, you might want to boil it separately before putting it in the liquid, or else starch will come off the noodles and make your soup gloopy. So the idea is to get the flavor from the soup, not to solidify it into a gloopy mess. So just be careful of what kind of ramen you're using before you put it into the pot. So once your broth is hot again, you can throw your noodles back in. Give it a little stir, make sure they don't stick to the bottom. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. Our ramen is cooked, so you can grab what you like and put it in your individual bowl. And there we go, a little ramen to finish Asuka Nabe. It's almost like a creamy Alfredo. If you have some leftover broth, put some ramen in it and enjoy. So there it is, Asuka Nabe, a Nara specialty that you can easily make at home with some milk and chicken to make a rich and flavorful dish. So give it a try. Let me know in the comments below if you give it a try, or tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see your version of Asuka Nabe. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe for more easy Japanese home cooking recipes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.